on, guys? Welcome back for another video. So in last week's video I mentioned to you guys that I was thinking about getting a twist throttle instead of a thumb throttle for the Raptor. So sure enough, I went on Amazon last week and I ordered one. This cost me about 40 bucks, and I'll throw a link in the description if you guys are curious which one I got. But this is supposed to fit the Raptor 700 models. So what we're going to be doing today is installing this. So let's go ahead and rip this open. What comes in this kit that I got is just your throttle tube and I guess throttle housing. And the kit that I ordered came with another throttle cable, but from what I can tell, I'm pretty sure I can just use the existing throttle cable for this guy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So let's get started. Let's come around to the throttle side of the quad. And the first step we're gonna be doing is taking off this cover right here, and that's gonna expose our throttle cable and where it attaches to our thumb throttle. So let's go ahead and remove these 3 Phillips head screws on the top of this guy. And after those screws are removed, this thing is just gonna pop off, and that's gonna expose our throttle cable and this kind of arm that controls the throttle. And the next thing we're gonna do is come down on the bottom here and take these 2 bolts off that hold our throttle housing to the handlebar. So they're again just two small Phillips bolts. And after the second one comes out, this little plate on the bottom will come with it. And then the top throttle should just come right off the bar, just like that. Let's just set that aside for now, because the next thing we need to do is slide our grip off the handlebar. All right, guys, like I said, the next step we're gonna be doing is taking our grip off of our handlebar. And this can honestly be kind of challenging if you don't have an air compressor. That's what I'm gonna be using. All you do with an air compressor is stick the end in right here, and that kind of shoots air in here and expands the grip, and it kind of just slides off. And I'll show you guys that in a minute. But if you don't have an air compressor, and a lot of people don't, you can use a zip tie method. That's another way of doing it, with maybe a little bit of WD-40 as well. But you're gonna stick the ends of the zip ties in here, the smaller the better, and shove them in as far as you can, and then kind of wiggle the grip, and it should come off eventually. It's a little bit harder method, but it does work. Alright guys, so I'm running into a little bit of trouble with this grip. Like I said, it can actually be pretty difficult to remove grips sometimes. Mine has a ton of glue on it. I didn't realize these were the stock grips, like from Yamaha, and they have a ton of glue on them. So what I'm gonna go ahead and try to do, so I don't have to cut them off, is use some chain lube, or you can use WD-40, but I'm gonna use chain lube, and then I'm gonna use a flathead screwdriver and just kind of go around here and break up all the glue. There we go, guys. Next thing we got to do is clean off all this glue and rubber that's left on here so our throttle tube can fit over our bar nicely. I'm just going to use a utility blade and get most of the big stuff off, and then I'll use a rag and try to clean it up and make it nice and polished. And that is looking pretty perfect. So the next thing we need to do is take our original throttle housing off of our throttle cable. So to do that, let's go ahead and pull this rubber boot back, and we need to grab a pliers and loosen this nut on our throttle cable. So once your nut is loose, go ahead and back that up all the way, loosen it all the way, and then we want to tighten this guy. That's going to give us the most amount of room to work with our throttle cable to get it out of this little arm here. Go ahead and take that throttle cable out of your arm, just like that. After you've got the cable out of your arm, now you can go ahead and unscrew the cable from the housing, just like that. So guys, I kind of goofed. Earlier in the video I mentioned that I was going to try to use the throttle cable that came with the Raptor, because I mean, why wouldn't I be able to? Well, it turns out that we can't use the throttle cable that's on the Raptor. We need to use the one that the kit came with, because it is about an inch longer, and we need that extra length for the twist throttle. So what that means is we are going to have to change out the throttle cable. It's not that difficult. It'll probably add another 20 minutes to the overall project. So the first step in removing your throttle cable is going to be taking off this plate right here. There's an Allen bolt here, here, and then there's a one on the top over here. So after your Allen bolts are removed, your plate should come off, exposing your throttle cable. So now that the plate is removed, now we can see our throttle cable. When you pull the cable, that's what's moving in there. So to remove your cable from the housing, we're just gonna come in here with the Allen and bump the cable off its track kind of, and then it should just kind of come out just like that. And then we're gonna take this little gold piece off. That's what holds the cable, just like that. So once the cable is removed here, you're gonna go ahead and unscrew this big hex thing on the cable, just like that. And that will remove the cable, like so. So next we gotta route our new throttle cable down through where the old one came out of. This can be a little bit tricky, but it comes out, you'll see a little hole right above your engine where the old one came out of. So we just need to get it through that hole again. So we're just gonna come down through the center and go under the bottom and pull the cable out through that hole. All right, so I just got the throttle cable fed through this hole right here down through the top, and we're just gonna go ahead and pull that towards our throttle body right over here. So once you have your throttle cable, just put it in the hole right here, and then go ahead and push the cable through a little bit, just like that, and thread in your cable to the housing here. And you're gonna wanna thread it all the way in, butt this end up right to that nut. So once you have your cable threaded in here, you're gonna go ahead and pull this out and put your brass piece on. Make sure not to lose this, because this is kind of the key to the whole thing. And go ahead and put that through, just like that. And then go ahead and pull on the cable a little bit to get some of the slack out of it. And that should just sit right in there, just like you took out your old one. And then go ahead and pull the slack. And get that cable on the track. After that's done, you can go ahead and put back on your cover. Make sure that that orange gasket is still in place, because that's kind of important to keep dirt and stuff like that out of your throttle cable. All right guys, and just like that, our new throttle cable is installed and we are ready to hook it up to our twist throttle. And just a quick note, after you finish installing it on the throttle body side, come up to the top here and just pull on it and make sure it's smooth and you know, it doesn't drag at all. And mine's really smooth. So we're just about finished. The next thing we're gonna do is thread our new throttle cable into our housing. Again, you'll wanna back this nut out as far as you can go and then thread it in as far as you can, so you'll get the maximum amount of slack in your cable here. And this twist throttle has a little cable guide, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that in now, just like that. Fits in there pretty nicely. And the next thing to do is grab your cable and put it in your twist throttle, just like this. Place the cable on the guide and fits right in there, just like that. And the last thing we're gonna do is just go ahead and bolt the bottom of the twist throttle housing up to the top. And after that, we are pretty much ready to go. And there we go, guys, we are done. We pretty much just have to put the grip on and we're ready to rip. One thing I do want to point out is that it's better to put this in back of your front brake reservoir, just because that's just kind of how it fits better in my opinion. And another thing to note, one really important thing, is not to put your twist throttle like too far in. I have about, I don't know, probably an 1/8 inch gap between the end of my twist throttle tube and the bar. If you put it all the way in, it'll drag and your throttle will stick. So it's really important to have just a little bit of gap between the end of your twist throttle and your bar. As you guys saw, I was able to put the grip on honestly way easier than I was taking it off. All I did was use some of that chain lube on the throttle tube and use that air compressor from the back end, and it just pretty much slid right on, so that's pretty sweet. All right guys, we are finished. Let's go ahead and turn the quad on and test this thing out. Alright guys, we are done. The twist throttle works great. I'm hoping wheelies will be a little bit easier for me now that I have a twist throttle. So pretty stoked about that. But honestly, the project took a little bit longer than I anticipated, just because I was really hoping that we could use the original throttle cable that came on the Raptor. But you do have to switch out the throttle cable, because the new one that comes in the kit is about 1 inch longer, which you need that extra inch. But all in all, if you do it on your four-wheeler, the project should take you probably about an hour, maybe an hour and a half if you got hung up with, you know, taking off your grip or feeding your cable through your four-wheeler. But after that, it's a pretty simple project. Anybody can do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope you found it helpful. I'm again going to leave a link in the description below to the twist throttle kit I used. It's $40 on Amazon, free shipping, so it's super economical and it actually works great on the Raptor 700. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to leave me a like and subscribe below, and I will see you guys next Saturday for another quad vlog.